Well, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, or thank goodness it's Friday. Either one works. As we ring in the new year here. So, my name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I'm super stoked with little Giovanni. He's over there. I don't know if you can see him behind the coffee table. He's taking a snooze on the floor. And what we want to talk about today is super important, of course, is 5 ways to ring in 2025 with tips on how to love yourself. Because you know what? It might sound like, oh, woo-woo and cheesy. Well, here's the thing. It isn't, because all the good stuff, anything you can talk about, all of life comes from a place of self-love first. We cannot give what we do not have, period. That's the fact, Jack, okay? And so we've got to talk about how to do that, because often when we've had harmful messages growing up, and I know you have shared my story, and there's stories all over this country and the world of people who have various, levels of that. Not levels, I don't mean like comparing, but, various on the continuum, from a little bit of bad messaging to trauma, and then there's all middle. And so even if you had an awesome family, but maybe you didn't, at times didn't get the love you needed, or something just happened. Maybe you lost a parent early on, just they loved you to bits and pieces and they were just taken too soon. There's all kinds of reasons that we have sort of like a wrench thrown in our self-love wheel. So here's the thing. Adulting gets a bad rap. However, one of the best things about being a grown-up is that we now have choices. So we can choose to start our day over whenever we want to, and as many times as we want to. We can choose who our family is. We can choose to love ourselves regardless of the messages we got early on. And so that's what we're talking about here, because no matter what, at a certain point, no matter who did what to you, all very legit, it could have been horrible abuse. At a certain point, we got to own it. And I don't mean own it as the blame. We want to let go of blame, actually. Just know that that person does not get a pass for whatever they did. To own the part where it's my life now, and I'm not going to let that person take anything more away from me. And going to start to shift into this place of wrapping around yourself like a burrito of love, showing yourself compassion so that you can truly, let go, just let go of all of it and live your highest vibe, truest, best version of yourself, living your own truth. So here's some things. Number 1 is gratitude. And again, my doctorate's in cognitive psychology. I'm not talking about woo-woo stuff. We can see brain changes on an fMRI. That little F means functional, and then the magnetic resonance imagery, just like that coffin-shaped thing that we get into below our knee. This one's different. It chases around, where the most oxygen is used in the brain, and that's how we tell where the activity is. So we can see actual brain changes. So gratitude changes the brain, and therefore changes your life. Changes your life. So here's the thing. I actually have it right here. I used to keep it on my windowsill, but here is also good, because you want your gratitude journal. You want to get one. If you don't have one, it can be at the dollar store. This is like this high-end signature Oprah one my husband got me, but it doesn't matter if it's from the dollar store. And you want to write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day. And actually, when I first wake up in the morning before I even get out of bed, I just say it out loud. Thank you. There's not for anything. I don't even say any more words. Just thank you. And then I swing around, say thank you again when my feet touch the ground, because I'm so glad I can stand up. My spine works. Everything's great, and I can start my day. Then from there, I go straight to here. I am grateful for, I am grateful for, I am grateful for. Because here's the thing, in relation to self-love, just like with jewelry, the more it appreciates, more valuable it is, right? Well, it's the same when we appreciate ourselves. And we're saying good things to ourselves. We're going to get to that in a moment. But as we appreciate ourselves, we become more aware of our own value, become stronger. Easier to see all the goodness in us, and easier to love ourselves. So gratitude is number 1. And remember, I said this in lots of videos before, the words I am grateful for are imperative, because the neurons in the brain, which just means nerve cells, need to know what to do, just like 2-year-olds. They're very much like 2-year-olds. Constant redirection. So if we just say my family, my partner, the snow outside, whatever, the neurons are like, what? We have to say, I am grateful for direction. This is the direction we're doing right now. I am grateful for my family, my partner, the snow. 3 things. So that whole thing, saying thank you, coming out here. I usually put my tea in the microwave first. Less than 2 minutes. And as Tony Robbins would say, actually, if you don't have 15 minutes in your day, you don't have a life. If you don't have 2 minutes in your day, you sure as heck don't have a life. So gratitude is first top of the list for loving ourselves. Secondly, I have nourishing your body in some way. So nourishing, and let's say nourishing and nurturing, because that also just implies food. And I mean getting out in nature. Even if you live in Manhattan, Central Park is there. Most major cities have parks. Even if it's not, I have like Narnia outside my door, and we love that. We love that about Vermont. But you can find nature, in any major city if you just work at it. If that's super hard, bring nature to you. Get some plants, clear out some space, some nice white lights across the ceiling to make all the plants and everything look a little more inviting, and you can get it that way. And also to nourish your body, because here's the thing, I'm about cognition, right? So each and every time we eat a piece of fruit during the day, we go outside for 15 minutes, any of these things that are practicing self-care, it sends a message to the brain that my behavior matters. My behavior matters, the mind-body connection. There's an intimate relationship between the mind and body. In fact, it's been said that if you want to know what's going on in the mind, ask the body. Because disease, right? Dis-ease, we're not at ease when we're having things going on disrupting our thoughts, right? So, which long-term can actually lead to disease. So the mind-body connection is so important, and to realize that it's intimate. So another thing is when we go out for that walk, or start that fitness regimen, it's got to be something you like, though, because if you don't like it, willpower only lasts so long, and it's not going to go the distance. Something you enjoy, again, the fruit or whatever changes you're making, and it sends it's like putting a deposit in your self-esteem bank, because when we do these small things, these are showing love to ourselves, even if they seem really, really small to other people. Guess what? We don't give a fat rat's ass what anybody else thinks anyway. So if it took all that you had in you to go buy some, that's just my example, is the fruit, or a biggie to cut back on, smoking or drinking, or what other the negatives are. Give yourself this hugest pat on the back, because you just showed love to yourself. And if that's hard for you, you celebrate those small wins like crazy. Okay, now the third one is reframing your inner dialogue. Well, here's the thing. Before you can get to that step of reframe, you've got to be aware of it first. So it's super important to realize whatever your feedback loop is. If you're a self-deprecator, oh, there I go again, especially at this time of year, right before the new year. I think the top couple of New Year's resolutions, which I actually did a reel on that because there's a truth about that. The top 2 resolutions, I think, or maybe it's in the top 3, are weight loss and fitness, and obviously they go very close together. But I lost my train there. But to reframe your conversation about that, because if it is, oh, I know. Okay, if you are, let's say one of your self-deprecating feedback loops is about weight loss. There I go again. I can't believe I just had that whatever. I can't believe I did that again. I crashed and burned and got Burger King, or I got Dunks or whatever. Okay, so rather than beating yourself up, what you do is say, okay, I'm aware that I want this behavior to change. I'm aware that I just made a choice that was not my best interest, because each and every choice we make on this day affects life minutes in 10 or 20 years. I mean, it's cumulative, right? So just acknowledging that consciously. So now I'm going to start my day over, and I'm going to, not do whatever it is you're doing, or do whatever it is whatever. Because it really all we want to do is acknowledge it. Beating ourselves up doesn't help anything. I have a good friend who did a TED Talk on that, actually. Jeremy Rochefort is his name, if you want to look it up. You cannot hate yourself to thin. Can't do it. You might have willpower. You might last 1 month or 3, something like that. If that's your shtick and you're just willpowering it, not going to last forever, because you're getting until that self-loathing feedback loop is derailed and reframed. You throw yourself some love, you're going to land right back weight-wise where you were, and whatever you did with fitness is going to come right back to the same flab level, because that's how it works. You cannot hate yourself to thin, and you cannot hate yourself to being physically fit, whatever that means for you. It only happens long-term, and it only, okay, I got to say this right. You will only have lasting change in general with weight, with fitness, with anything, when you're loving yourself there, which doesn't mean perfection, because that is a bar that's unreachable. That word I didn't even allow in our house when our children were small. I would say, how was your day? And they'd say, oh, wait, 99% excellent. So perfectionism is just self-abuse of the highest order. Ann Schaaf said that. So if we just want to get back, pull it back together, start the day over if you mess up and you had 3 cookies or whatever. Because here's the thing. When the brain is in that scarcity mindset, I'm just using diet and exercise for an example. There's all kinds of ways to have a scarcity mindset. Food scarce, meaning I can't have this, I shouldn't have that, I'm counting points, I can't believe I failed, all that's all scarcity talk. Same thing with fitness. I can't believe I slept through my alarm, I didn't get my run, now I have to go to work, I didn't do my weight thing, now it's been 3 days. All scarcity, 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 and failure messages. So it's really important to reframe all that stuff, get back to it, give yourself a nice igniter, let go of what you didn't do or did do that you didn't want to do, or did want to do or whatever, and move forward instead of, using that guilt stick and beating yourself up, because that's just not going to get you anywhere. Okay, and we also will attract more of what we're thinking about. So if we're really focused on what we can't have at this great party with all that good food, it's just going to make that whole cycle of weight loss even harder. Okay, that was just my example. Okay, so pay attention to what you're saying to yourself each day, and remind yourself, this is part of why I made myself some notes here. Remind yourself, this is where the reframe comes in, to step out of that negative place. Remind yourself of your strengths. Tell yourself, start with one thing, and hopefully you can go up to 3. One strength that you really, really like about yourself. Like, man, Kimmy, you are so funny. I just love how you manage stress with humor. It lightens up the room. I love how you love to have fun, how you love life. I love how you are really good at bringing out the good in people. I also love how you can start your day over at any moment. Okay, there's 3 things. There you go. You can, and then and say them to yourself. Even if you can just start with one, that's a huge start. And also your uniqueness. Wow, I love your uniqueness. I love the artist you are. I love to, even maybe if it's physical, I love how you do your hair. I love that you make your own clothes. I love that you have a unique way of getting out of challenging conversations without drawing attention to it. You have a unique way of, whatever about you, because there's strengths and there's uniqueness, and they can certainly overlap. But anyway, tell yourself all those good feels. And then 4 is celebrate the small wins. This is so important, celebrating the small wins. I'm thinking about it in personal life, and which includes relationships, right? Because small wins are, let's say there was some mild bickering that was going on that very easily could have escalated because you and your partner or best friend or whoever are tired. Maybe you've been hosting for all the Christmas and Hanukkah holidays or all that, and you're just at the end of your rope. Small bickering, and it could have just blown up, and you stopped it, you took an adult time out, went on a walk, changed the subject. That's a win. That is such a win. Or something didn't work out with the food and you managed to save the turkey, or the turkey burned, and you just said, okay, guys, guess what? Turkey's gone, and we're going to improvise and do this with the recipe. Small wins, small wins. And then I'm thinking, I have my own business, and small wins, we get some awesome new client, and it or maybe that's even a big win, but because they accumulate. And the more we celebrate, maybe you're working on not interrupting as much, and you went through a whole holiday party without interrupting once. Go me, man, yeah. So celebrate it, because it just accumulates, and it's all gets thrown into the self-esteem bank. All right, and then lastly, set boundaries. And people sometimes say, well, how do I do that? Here's the thing, it's kind of like a Nike commercial. You just do, it can be uncomfortable. So the main message to give yourself is, I am going to choose to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because boundary setting isn't comfortable. And so you get good at it. It's like anything, playing the violin or soccer or learning how to cook or whatever, or even drive or ride a bike or whatever, in the beginning, you're wobbly, you need training wheels, kind of thing. Eventually somebody gives you a shove down a small little, decline, and there you go. You're often going, or it's the violin, or it's the guitars, the calluses. Eventually you're playing, not so much, and then you get calluses, and then they go away, and you're playing Margaritaville. Well, it's the same thing with practicing setting boundaries. Eventually, it gets easier and easier and easier. And some tips with that are, first of all, when the person says, like basically, now's a good time for this actually with the holidays, asking you to do that one more thing. You're maxed up to here. You're behind on everything at work because you're trying to unplug and just be present. Great for you. And somebody asks you that one more thing, and you're just like, you want to just say, well, a good way to get out, if you're caught off guard, a great thing to say is, let me check my calendar and get back to you, because it puts them off. So you can come up with something better to say. That's a great one. I use that a lot. Another one is just come right out with it. No, that's not going to work with me, but thank you for asking. You want to always say thank you, and absolutely no apologizing. Because when we do, I wish I could, I'm so sorry, I can't, I'm just all maxed out, and throw up, and explaining, and I'm so sorry, I wish I could go, all that does is just throw up weakness and blech. It's just blech. It was even hard for me to spit all that out just right now, because it was like ick. Because here's the thing, the world respects strength. You're not doing a thing wrong. There's nothing to feel guilty about when you set a boundary. Why? Because it's one of the biggest, most wonderful expressions of self-value there could possibly be. Brene Brown's done a lot of research on that. And the people who are the best boundary setters were the people who valued themselves the most. Think about it. It makes a ton of sense. And when we value ourselves, we also send the message to the other person, even if they're disappointed because we can't bake the brownies for the 9th time or whatever. It sends a message that we value them. And I'm not going to waste your life minutes going on and on about something I can't do and all the, that throwing up and stuff, because I value your life minutes too. It isn't good for me. I'm just expressing that to you. That's it. Thank you for asking. Done. Okay. So that's 5 ways, and I have many more, but 5 ways you can learn to love yourself. To ring in the New Year's, we have be grateful. We talked about the gratitude practice each and every morning. If you miss one, just get back on the horse. Gratitude, nourish and nurture your body, which means food and movement, whatever that is for you. Reframe your own inner dialogue to something positive, which involves focusing on your signature strengths and also your uniqueness. And then we have, that was 3, sorry. And then 4th is celebrate the small wins. I'm a big fan of this too. It can be, what is huge to you might be small to someone else. But here's the big news. We don't give a fat rat's ass what that person thinks. All that matters is what you think. So if it's huge to you, you celebrate that because it accumulates. And then lastly, 5 is set boundaries. This isn't going to work for me. This over here might work for me, but that isn't. Thank you for asking. Yada, 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 done. And that's it. Happy New Year. Love yourself. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!